that. Let's bring in now, though, Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, who joins us this morning. Kari, we're glad to have you on the program this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's so good to be here. Happy Halloween early. I can't wait to see what they're going to transform you into.
You and me both. You and me both, Kari. It's great to have you. We really appreciate it. You know, you've been on the trail, a number of appearances that have that amongst conservatives have really galvanized folks as far as how you fight back against the media and characterizations of candidates. There's also an ad running in Arizona right now attacking you from a familiar Republican, well, sort of Republican face. Here's, debatably, here's 10 seconds of that ad, and it features Liz Cheney.
I don't know that I have ever voted for a Democrat, but if I lived in Arizona, I absolutely would. We cannot give people power who will not honor elections.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Here's a portion of your open letter back to Liz Cheney. You wrote, "My team tells me your commercial should add another 10 points to our lead." I guess that's why they call the Cheney anti-endorsement the gift that keeps on giving. Quite an endorsement, Kari.
Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, she is going to be our best fundraiser yet. We have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars since her ad started and since we put that letter out. She's just, she's hated by both sides right now. I mean, we're actually bringing Democrats over to our movement. They don't like Liz Cheney either. And for her to think that she can come into Arizona and try to influence this election, it's comical, it's sad, and a little bit scary. I think the scariest costume you could put on for Halloween would be Liz Cheney. You'll get no candy at anyone's door.
No, she is definitely lacks charisma, let's just say it that way, which is something that I think you have in spades, and it's something that a lot of people are very interested in you because you have been fearless in taking on topics that people say you're not allowed to talk about. You do it, but you do it with intelligence and you do it with facts, and you aren't afraid to take on the media. I'm going to play this clip here of you just sort of toying with a CNN reporter, if you will. Listen.
Okay.
Hi.
Kari.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Camel off in CNN.
You don't have a mask on anymore. What's
we're
going on?
outside. Do you have a minute to
well,
chat?
we're 6 feet apart.
Do you have a minute to chat?
I'll do an interview.
Okay.
As long as it airs on CNN Plus. Does that still exist? I didn't think so, because the people don't like what you guys are peddling, which is propaganda. Thank you.
Is that...
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. You know what's not fun, Kari? And I just got back from the Texas border. I'm originally from Arizona, so I understand what's happening in the state of Arizona in terms of the open border policies of this administration. And we've sat here on the couch. You've said, you've made a promise to the people that you would declare an emergency. We all think you really will. What's that going to look like if you're elected?
Well, we've got a real frightening situation at the border. We do have an invasion, millions of people pouring across illegally. Many of them do have criminal backgrounds, and we know right now that the cartels are in control of our border, and we're seeing a crisis with the fentanyl that's pouring across. Nearly 3,000 Arizonans died last year of overdoses, and people like Liz Cheney are more concerned with, running her mouth, trying to prevent someone like me who wants to protect the citizens of Arizona than wanting to do something about it. She's more concerned with January 6th Commission than the migrant who came over on January 6th and wanted to kill and tried to kill a Border Patrol agent. We have a crisis. On day one, we're calling it what it is, an invasion, and we're going to send our National Guard to the border, start to stop people from coming over and take on the cartels and end their fentanyl trafficking through Arizona. It's as simple as that. We have the right. It's in the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. We will invoke those powers, and the state of Arizona will take charge of the border.
Kari, I know that's something you said you'll do within the first hours of being inaugurated if you're elected the governor of Arizona. We've talked about that on this couch on many occasions over the last couple of months. We've talked with Russ Vought and Ken Cuccinelli, two people who have helped push that issue forward, that states have the power to declare an invasion. Why, I'm going to ask you a two-part question. Why do you think other Republican governors have been hesitant to do so? And what are the downstream implications you think happens after you declare an invasion and use state resources to begin to solve this problem?
I don't know why other governors haven't done it. Maybe a lack of courage or a lack of will, concerned about maybe losing an election. You know, it may not go perfectly every step of the way. No plans do. You have to make adjustments, and there'll be some detours along the way. But we don't have the choice of sitting on the sideline and watching fentanyl pour into this country and kill people in record numbers. Enough fentanyl has poured in to kill every man, woman, and child in America several times over. We don't have the option of sitting around waiting for Joe Biden to do something. He's not. He's part of the problem. In my opinion, he's on the side of the cartels. So we don't have a choice but to get down there and stop this illegal activity, and we're going to do it. I'm not worried about being reelected. I'm not worried about all of the political implications. I'm worried about the health implications and losing our young people. I've talked to way too many moms and dads in over 500 days on this campaign trail who have lost a child, a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old that are gone. And I cannot bear that heartache for those parents anymore. And someone's got to stand up and protect the people of Arizona. And that's why I'm running for office. And that's what I intend to do starting on day one.
Kari, we may get back to the border in a moment, but I have a sincere question. You were well known in Arizona because you were a TV anchor there for years, so people know you from the news. You have taken on the news and the media there in ways that other candidates have really across the country usually been unwilling to do. What's it like as a former member of the media to be targeted by the media so unfairly and then to fight back? Talk to me about that dynamic.
Wow, that is a great question, because we've watched for 7 years as President Trump has been attacked, and you'd think, okay, well, they just don't like President Trump. Well, I worked in the media in this town for 30 years. I got along with these people, and now they're attacking me. And what it is they don't like conservatives. They don't like America First agendas. They don't want people who are going to fight for the people. I don't know what's behind it, but it's disturbing. They're spreading fake news about me. My opponent, who's been campaigning out of her basement, had a petty theft in her office. She tried to pin it on me. She tried to make it into a Watergate-style break-in. It was so ludicrous that anybody with half a brain would have looked at her allegation and said, this is not only defamatory, it's stupid. But no, the media in this town ran with it. They pinned a burglary on me, and until, we knew right away this was some repeat criminal who's breaking in, probably trying to fuel an addiction or something like that. And they didn't do any background to look into it. It was so obvious at its surface. It wasn't us that were behind it. So I don't know. I just think that they want the status quo. They don't want people who are going to go in, shake up our government, and return it back to we the people. It's really despicable. And I'm trying to wake people up in this country as to what the media is all about. And I think I'm having an effect on it.
Just to follow up with that, Kari and Pete's question, I want to play a clip from a recent exchange you had with some members of the media about whether or not you're an election denier. And I have a question for you on the other side. Let's revisit this moment.
Okay.
If you're going to start throwing around terms like election denier, let's remember who the other election deniers were: Hillary Clinton and all the Democrats. Let's talk about election deniers. Here's 150 examples of Democrats denying election results. So it's okay for Democrats to question elections, but it's not okay for Republicans.
You know, Kari, I spent some time this week actually breaking down some of the tools on the Will Cain podcast, some of the tools and techniques that you use, one of which, by the way, is in a different clip where a reporter testifies that many people of color and then proceeds to critique you. And you rejected the presumption accurately. Who? What people of color? What surveys are you referencing? You have a real talent of seeing the rhetorical tricks that are used in what many would assume are benign or objective questions. You know, I don't know where you gathered that, naturally intelligent perhaps, or 20 years in the media. But you do see the game in a way that I think many on both sides of the camera don't see what's actually happening in this relationship.
Yeah, I'm listening to the reporter. I used to be a reporter. I still consider myself to be a journalist at heart. And I know the tricks. I know where they're trying to go with those loaded questions. Many people of color, surveys say, surveys prove. Which surveys? And who's behind those surveys? Because I talked to people of color, and guess what? I said to the guy, they want safe neighborhoods as well. People of color want their children to be able to ride their bikes outside and not have to worry about them. People of color want to make sure they have police officers when they call them, that they'll show up, that there's enough on staff. And so I just reject the fake news, the narrative that they're pushing. And I know in most of these news outlets, 90% of the people are liberals or even far leftists. And so I know where they're coming from. And I want people to wake up that what you're hearing on the news is oftentimes not the truth. And many times it's a pushed narrative coming from the left.
You know, Kari, it's really interesting to see the command with which you take on, as Will pointed out, and we saw in this clip, the media. I think you've become, I've always thought that feminism it was odd that it was in the hands of liberals, and that this new wave of feminism is really conservative women like yourself who are leading the way at this moment where even the idea of what is a woman is being called into question. And I want to play a clip because I think so many women are looking up to you and seeing what you're doing, seeing what you're standing for in terms of life and family and children and the fentanyl issues and everything else. Here's a moment from your campaign, unscripted, and the kind of impact you're having on little girls. Take a look.
Hi, look at that sweet baby back there. She's waving.
I like you because you take care of babies.
I do take care of. Okay. She's going to make me cry right now. Thank you. You know why? Because your life is so valuable. We can't wait to see what you do when you grow up.
I'm gonna be just like you.
Oh my gosh. That still warms my heart, guys. I see that clip, and that's why I'm in this. And Rachel, I mean, you know it. We're mama bears. And
That's right.
Once you trigger a mama bear, because you start to go after and threaten her baby cubs, you have awoken a force to be reckoned with. And the mama bears in this country are wide awake, and they are activated. And I don't know if I can say it, but they're pissed off. And they are going to protect their babies. There is something inside of us as parents, and I know that Pete and Will, you guys know what I'm talking about. You've probably seen videos before. If a child gets run over by a car, you've seen a dad use superhuman strength to lift the car, or a mom, and you go, where did that strength come from? That is that inner source of strength that you have as a parent to protect your child. And the left has triggered us. They have opened that up to a nation of moms and dads who are so fed up. They're coming after them, and they're going to change policies. They're going to get involved. They're going to affect this election by voting, and they're going to get people into office who will protect their children, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
Well, Kari, you mentioned that inner source of strength, and you had a campaign ad talking about something that gives you strength, and that's your faith. We're going to play a portion of it.
I remember sitting at my desk in my office, and I just was praying to God about it. And I took the Bible and I just opened it up. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7. You bring nothing into this world, and you take nothing out of this world. And I remember getting the message loud and clear. Okay, message received, God, I got it. You want me to go. And right then and there, I decided I'm leaving my career.
The role of faith, what is that in your campaign and in this effort?
Oh, everything. I have to say, God has been behind this campaign since the beginning. I believe he gave me the courage to walk away from my job, and that moment in my bio, which is on you can find it on our social media or on our website, talked about that last part of me that was like afraid to walk away from a big comfortable paycheck, and that moment where I opened the Bible, and that was the verse that was staring back at me. God has been such a huge power, and I completely handed my life over to God, 100%, not 50%, not 75%, 100%. And when you do that, it is truly amazing where God will take you. This has been a wild ride. We're only just beginning it. We're looking forward to getting into office. We believe we're going to win. And I know that God will be there to help me make the right decisions along the way. You can't always rely on people to help you, but you can always rely on God. And he has been giving us just supernatural strength through this entire campaign. We're working from early in the morning until midnight some nights. We have done 5 to 6, sometimes 10 events and meetings a day. And I don't know how I've had the strength other than to give God the thanks for it, because he's somehow fueling us through this. And we only have 9 more days to go. And we're not going to stop. We're hitting the gas, and we're going to go right through that finish line.
Well, you've been taking arrows and attacks like I have never seen, probably since Donald Trump, and it's been remarkable. Kari, I had a birthday a week or two ago, and I told the guys on the couch that for my birthday I wanted Kari Lake lighting.
Yeah.
And so maybe you could tell us the secret.
I wondered if you were going to ask her. I was like, she's going to ask her about her lighting at some point.
Okay, well, my husband is a video production guy, and it's really simple.
go.
We just have 2 lights. I think people think we have like an Instagram filter. It's real simple. We have 2 lights. One above me and one below me, and we have a really good camera. That's the
I think that's the key.
That's the trick.
And,
really good camera.
and it sounds like you have a really good husband.
I have the most amazing husband. He's sitting right here beside me, and he's been part of the journey with me as we traverse this beautiful state of Arizona. We're so blessed to live here, and we're not willing to let this state go and turn into California, which is what my opponent wants to do. She looks at California and thinks that's utopia. We want Arizona to remain this amazing Wild West state, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that happens.
Love it.
It's the most beautiful place. So.
We appreciate your time this morning, Kari. It was really great to talk to you.
Kari Lake, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got